I've left DriveTribe. After nearly 9 years, I've decided to go down a different path. So welcome to my new channel called Fernie. That's me. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that has ever watched any of my videos on the internet. Without you guys tuning in and geeking out with me, challenging some of my car choices and having to deal with the odd bit of patriotism, I would not have been able to live the dreamland life that I've lived over the best part of the last decade. Some of you have noticed that I've not been around on the DriveTribe channel much recently, and that's because I actually resigned back in June. I then worked out my notice, and then I've been working in the background putting together what's to come. And that's something I really want to hammer home. I resigned. This call was made by me in my kitchen at home. I've not been forced out or put in any awkward positions. This was a call I wanted to make and I've made it. And geez, it's not been an easy decision at all. DriveTribe has been my entire professional career so far. I quite literally left university and started working for Clark's Hammond & May straight away. That means DriveTribe is infused in my brain, and there's no getting away from that. It will be part of anything I do in the car world from here on in, but that's not a bad thing at all. So I've left. The question is, why have I left DriveTribe? Well, to get into that, let me take you right back to the start of me working there so you have the full timeline and the full context. Hop back to September 2012 and I was starting a mechanical engineering degree at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. It was a 5-year course, and in the third year of my 5 years, I had a bit of a brainwave. I liked engineering, I found it really interesting and cool, but I couldn't see myself becoming an engineer as a career. So I sat back and thought, what will make me the happiest every day? As simple as that. And it was cars, driving cool cars. And I saw there was 3 main ways into doing that. Number 1, being a race driver, but you probably had to have done karting since you were a kid and have millions in the bank to get anywhere useful. So that was kind of quickly swept aside. Number 2 was being a test engineer at a car company, but that would probably mean climbing the career ladder as an engineer to get there, which was the path I was deliberately moving away from. And also, if I'm honest, the best gigs normally get swept up by racing drivers, so that was gone. Number 3 was car journalist. Now I had that Dave rerun encyclopedic Top Gear knowledge. I then had the technical knowledge from my engineering degree, and from school I knew I could write a bit. I did okay at creative writing. So I decided that was the path I was going to go down. I was going to become a car journalist. I then started a blog, taking friends' cars, friends' parents' cars and writing reviews of them, and built up a bit of a content backlog. I then sent that backlog around to people. When all of my engineering pals were getting summer internships at Rolls-Royce, Babcock, Lockheed Martin, I was asking for internships at Autocar, Auto Express and Evo magazine. I sent a whole bunch of emails out and I got 2 replies, Auto Express and the biggie, Car Throttle. I went down for summer to London and internships at those 2 places, and after it, Car Throttle offered me a part-time freelance job writing articles for them to put on their website. The main thing was they liked my technical side of my knowledge. They liked my writing that was about how stuff on cars worked, geeky engine stuff, the stuff I still do now. They really liked that. So they paid me to write while I was finishing my 5-year degree. I wrote articles for Car Throttle. But then there was a bit of a spanner in the works. After freelancing for Car Throttle, during that final 2 years of my degree, I then thought, cool, they're going to give me a job at the end of it. But being a car media startup, they were in the middle of one of their rash pivots, and financially they weren't doing great. So they told me they would only be able to keep me on as a freelancer, not as a full employee. Now my dad, being as wise as he always is, told me you cannot leave university and just start a freelance career. It's not the way to do it. I agreed with him, so I took my Car Throttle articles and applied elsewhere, using them as examples. And I applied to what was actually my dream job, Evo magazine, and I got an interview. I went down to London, interviewed, and I got the job. Kind of. See, at that time, Evo and Auto Express were owned by a parent company called Dennis Publishing. And although I thought I'd been given the Evo job, they actually put me as content editor for Auto Express. Now that's more the new Kia Picanto and Clio than the new 911 M4 and Evo Car of the Year, the holy grail. But who was I to complain about that? I was immediately a professional car journalist, so I was heading down to London to start my car journalism career. But then, that all changed too. I remember things quite vividly. I could take you to that seat in the mechanical engineering general common room area at Heriot Watt. I got a Twitter DM from this guy called Malcolm, who worked at this company called DriveTribe.
This is DriveTribe.
Now, DriveTribe had been floating around the internet, but very mysteriously. What was this thing? Some people had got early access to it, but all the general public knew was it was some sort of social media platform that was being started by Clarkson Hammond and May, and it was going to change the landscape of car social media. Malcolm said, I really like your stuff on Car Throttle. Do you want to come and do that at DriveTribe? Here's the salary. It was a chunk more than at Auto Express, and it was down in London, which is where I was preparing to head down to anyway. So I did a 3-point turn away from Auto Express and headed to DriveTribe. Suddenly, I was working for Clarkson Hammond and May. And I was doing what I was doing at Car Throttle. I was writing technical articles that went up into my tribe. It was called Car Knowledge. DriveTribe at that time was a car social media platform to democratize car journalism. You could create a tribe and start writing articles and get your content out there. It was actually really cool. 2 weeks into my job there, I remember sitting at my desk, and on my manager's desk next to me was a big pile of papers. They were CVs, and the CV on top, I remember looking at the name, and it was a name that would change my life and was pivotal to the way DriveTribe was run thereafter, and especially the direction it went later on, which I'll get to. The name at the top of that sheet of paper was Lucy Brown. I swear, to this day, she only got the job at DriveTribe because the printer printed them out in that order, and she happened to be the one on top. She's jammy as We quickly became a bit of a tag team. She needed to get social numbers, that's what her job was, and I would write the articles that would get her clicks. DriveTribe at that time did have a YouTube channel, and the likes of Henry Catchpole, Jethro Bovington, Vicky Parrott, they got it to 200,000 subscribers really quickly from when it first launched. And there's some amazing videos on there. The amount of budget that was put towards those guys creating whatever video content they wanted, the job was simply go and get views, go and get subscribers so that people know what DriveTribe is. But again, a car media startup, it pivots, and there was one pivot that was made that essentially wiped out that YouTube side of the business overnight. Give it another year or so, however, and the commercial demands for video content was going up, and DriveTribe was heading towards dealing with other brands, sponsoring content. The move they made then was to make these essentially adverts for brands and just suddenly whack them on the DriveTribe YouTube channel. And they did not go down well. The audience really didn't like it. And of course they wouldn't, because they went from those lovely, organic, cinematic videos to what were essentially straight up ads. So I stuck my hand up as a solution because things were getting scary. I was told there was a meeting where there was a genuine conversation about deleting the DriveTribe YouTube channel with 200,000 subscribers and starting again with this kind of commercial ad content. It was never going to go well. Thankfully, they were convinced not to do that. And I said, well, let's start creating cheaper, organic content, nothing like what we started off with, but stuff that the audience might like, and then kind of go from there and build the channel back up to the point where it could then be commercialized. I was given a bit of budget to go and create some stuff, and I started a series called DriveTribe in Detail, which started with my favorite car, the Jaguar XJR9. I wonder, comment down below if any of you watching this watched that first ever Mike Fernie DriveTribe video. It was in at the deep end, and to be honest, I was just trying to be Henry Catchpole with my demeanor. I'm trying to speak very softly the way he does it. It wasn't me, and I must say it's quite embarrassing watching that video back, but everyone's got to start somewhere. It was an epic car, but I probably went too far in the deep end. I did a few DriveTribe in Details, and the audience seemed to like them. They didn't get massive views, but it was building up quite nicely.
Okay, hear me out.
Getting the channel back up and running then perked up the interest of one of the founders, Mr. James May, and that then started the James May era on the channel. James getting more involved then perked up the interest of Jeremy and Richard because it was their company too, and they wanted to get involved. So quite quickly, Lucy and I were planning videos with the entire Grand Tour trio. It was mostly James, but also the odd Jeremy and Richard videos. It was amazing. But then the next pivot in YouTube car media happened. That was YouTube sponsor integrations. Sponsors were looking at videos getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views and thinking, we want to capitalize on that audience. Now, brands came to DriveTribe and there was no way they could afford any of the Grand Tour trio. So that's why my video output then went through the roof. Sponsors could come in and get their 60 to 90 seconds on my videos, and the commercialization of the DriveTribe channel had kind of fully recovered. No more full-on adverts going out, but videos we wanted to make that were then sponsored by brands. Then the next big business move happened, and it was a sad one. DriveTribe felt that the experiment of building an entire social media platform for car lovers had failed, and it was going to close down. Richard, however, liked what he saw on the social media side of things. So instead of it completely being wiped from the face of the earth, he bought out the other founders and DriveTribe was now his. But the company had been streamlined right down. At its peak in terms of employees, back in 2017 at King's Cross, I think DriveTribe had 54, 55 employees. Now, the company was down to 4. And it was Dave, who was sales, Lucy, that was marketing and social media, myself, head of video, and Richard. That was it. From the end of 2021 then, the goal was to build DriveTribe 2.0 up as sustainably as possible, learn the lessons from DriveTribe 1.0. So the company slimmed right down to the normal social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and the big one, YouTube. And we got to work. We quickly got the channel to 2 million subscribers and then partnered up with a production team called Centric Creative and started making, in my opinion, some of our best videos. We were going on road trips. We were creating epic project cars. We were filming loads with Richard. There was the M5 Touring, which I thought was the greatest car that has ever been on the DriveTribe channel. There was the manual XKR. We restored Richard's Grand Tour Subaru. A career highlight for me was a little 2-video series where me and Richard took our V8 supercharged dailies up to our favourite roads, his being in the Lake District and mine being up in Scotland. I was dailying a Charger Hellcat. We set a world record in the US with a Lotus. It was a freaking awesome era. We built the channel up for another year or so, and then there was another big addition. Izzy Hammond. She had just finished university and wanted to get into video production, and her debut video was her and Richard in the Ram TRX, and her career has kicked on ever since. As a Top Gear kid, I felt I'd landed the dream job. Hop 10 years previously, I was on my sofa watching those reruns of Top Gear on Dave, like I imagine many of you did. And then hop 10 years into the future, I was working at a company that they owned, even presenting videos alongside them. A combination of me playing my cards right, being in the right place at the right time, a hell of a lot of hard work, but also some luck thrown in, I'd landed that dreamland job. 12-year-old Michael Fernie would never have believed it. That begs the question then, why have I left DriveTribe? Very recently, I've had a few people say to me they thought I would be a DriveTribe lifer, and until about 2 months maybe before I resigned, I thought the same. The main reason I'm leaving is because there are other things I'd like to achieve. I've built up the DriveTribe channel year after year, and now I want to have a go at something for myself. That's why I started this Mike Fernie channel. I'm going to use all the things I've learned as being head of video at DriveTribe and have a stab myself. I must admit, it has taken a lot of encouragement and some seriously tough love from other friends in the YouTube space to get me thinking along these lines. My head was so in deep with building the DriveTribe channel that I wasn't aware of the other opportunities that could be out there. One particular YouTube pal gave me a bit of a reality check in terms of my momentum on YouTube. He was saying that every presenter on a YouTube channel has an escape velocity, that time when it makes sense to push off and do your own thing. After that chat, other people in the space close to me were starting to say similar things that had a clear and unbiased non-DriveTribe view of things. For a few years now, I've had people asking me when I'm going to do a car throttle or do a donut, and to be honest, it never really crossed my mind. I was so in deep and loving life, filming these amazing videos for DriveTribe and having a great time. It was really awesome. I can't really talk about specifics, but if I'm being fully honest, around about that time, I also felt like my worth at DriveTribe wasn't being fully appreciated. It wasn't like I was being massively disrespected, but it was more just the realization that over time, companies change. And I think the longer you spend at a company, just naturally, you start to be taken more for granted. It is what it is. Next up is the health of the DriveTribe channel. The #1 bit of feedback I get from subscribers and other YouTubers who watch the DriveTribe channel is they never really know what to expect next. It could be one of my engine nerd videos, Richard driving a new Ferrari, Izzy mucking about in a Range Rover, or a Ben Collins track test. Now you could see that plethora of content as a good thing, it keeps the channel fresh, but a modern YouTube audience, they like to know what's coming. They like consistency. All it takes is for someone to not really fancy watching one of the videos because it's not their thing, it's not their presenter, or not really their idea, they don't fancy it. That then makes it that bit more difficult for them to click on the next one, and then the next video, and then the next video, and quickly you can spiral into a rough video performance month simply because it's been a bit too all over the place content-wise. For the health of the DriveTribe channel, it makes sense for me to take my video ideas and publish them elsewhere. That means the content can streamline down to the Hammonds and be a lot more consistent. It's going to be super interesting to see what they do from here on in. It's going to be weird because I've had a part to play in every single DriveTribe video that's been published since 2019. So there's going to be videos going out that I've suddenly had nothing to do with. At the same time, that's already happening and I'm absolutely loving it. I've really enjoyed the content they've put out recently, and as I say, it's going to be cool to see where they take it from here. I think a change up here has played a big part too. I'm about to turn 32 and I'm probably going to make some fairly scary moves in my personal life in the near future. So before any of that starts happening, I want to see what happens when I can pour every single hour of my day into this new channel. It's been amazing what I've come across and the conversations I've been having since moving out from underneath DriveTribe recently. I cannot wait to show you guys what's in the pipeline. It's going to be some meaty content. So those are my reasons, and to be 100% clear again, the move away from DriveTribe has been super amicable. I told Richard I was leaving at the MG versus MG shoot at Landau, and fair play to him. At the start, he was a bit down and a bit bemused as to the decision I was making, but very quickly it turned around and it was all about this split being super positive and right for both myself and DriveTribe, keeping away from some of those notoriously hairy YouTube splits that have happened in the last couple of years. I have one more DriveTribe video to go. That will be me dyno testing Richard's Buick V8, getting it back into the Grand Tour Buick, and then driving it down and reuniting him with that car. That will essentially be my final job for DriveTribe, so definitely stay tuned for that on the DriveTribe channel. It will be a really nice way to tie up my working relationship with Richard. I will forever be grateful for him grabbing DriveTribe by the horns in November 2021 and pushing the brand on. Although saying that, none of the videos would have been possible without the amazing team that has made DriveTribe the brand it is today, especially Lucy, Dave, the Centric Creative Boys, and the rest of the team that then built up around the business after that. I've been told that the door is very much still open for me to appear as a guest or in the odd cameo on the DriveTribe channel, maybe filling in as a third car on a road trip, and that would be awesome if we can make it happen. It'll be really fun working with that team in future. With all of that out the way then, what's happening now? I've got some things planned. Thing number one is, of course, my new channel. I'm going to take all the stuff that I've thoroughly enjoyed filming and you guys seem to have enjoyed watching and crack on with it. Interesting engine videos, finding the quirky ones, looking at brand new ones, dragging crappy old ones out of hedges. There's going to be lots of engines on there. I'm also looking to build some awesome project cars that go about performance a slightly unique way, as well as a big dollop of Top Gear nostalgia, driving cars from that era and also finding out different stories from what was the heyday of car TV. All of that is what's going to be happening on the channel and more. What's awesome for me as well is I'm actually reuniting with some of my old DriveTribe videographers. Tombo and Mumu were the backbone of DriveTribe content back in the day and is the reason that my favourite and hopefully some of your favourite DriveTribe videos look the way they do. I plan to upload on Tuesdays and I've already got a whole load of stuff in the can. Me and Tombo are just back from Turin with a really cool engine shoot, so stay tuned for that. It's going to make an awesome video. I'm going to be collabing with my usual YouTube friends, both on my channel and on theirs, and also working with some of them in the background on their channels too, helping them with ideas, titles, thumbnails, essentially doing a little bit of content consultancy. I'll also be presenting for some brands and at events. I'm actually hosting the NEC Classic Car Show in Birmingham alongside Mike Brewer this week. So if you want to head to that, I'll put the link in the description below along with my discount code. It'll be really cool to see you there. What I'm saying is there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the last couple of months and it's going to be incredibly exciting to get it out there. While I'm cracking on with stuff in the diary, I thought you guys could help me out creating some of the foundational content for this channel. I'm after three things. Do you have an interesting engine that's sat under a hedge, in a ditch, buried under your house, that's worth dragging out and rebuilding? Do you have a barn find, field find, or garage find MG Rover or Jaguar that's worth saving? Or are you a Volkswagen PD specialist, an engine rebuilder that can show me around the ins and outs of that engine? If you tick either three of those boxes, DM me on Instagram. I'm Mike_Fernie, and let's have a chat and see if we can put something together. That's my news then. I hope you guys have enjoyed my content over the years and would consider subscribing to my new channel. My mum has always said to me, what's for you won't go by you, and this will be the biggest test of that. But I'm going to roll the dice and send it. I'll see you in the next video. Spoiler alert, it's about an engine coming soon. Thanks for watching.